Hi, my name is Hannah. Today, I want to invite you into the story of the end of life of a woman. That is the way all of us are going to experience. The woman is my mother-in-law. She had heart disease from when she was young, so also had lung problems like pneumonia and the trouble of blood circulation. But she was always a humble woman who appreciated small things in her life even though she was illiterate. One day, when my husband brought her to my house, she had heavily swollen calves with a lot of pain, like stabbing her legs with a knife, and her feet were so swollen that she couldn't wear her shoes or walk. When I touched her legs, they had no worms and were just cold and stiff. She just looked at me with hopeless eyes, just like telling me that she was filled with fear that she might die. She arrived late at night, so we had to wait to go to the hospital until the next day. I felt like I couldn't do anything for her. Then I felt that her figure seemed almost like my own self in the future someday. I started to give her a massage on her legs and calves, and I determined that I would give her a massage all through the night without sleeping. I massaged and rubbed her calves from 10 p.m. that night to 2 a.m. the next day, and I was so sleepy and repeatedly woke up again till morning. My mother-in-law said to me from time to time, "Go to sleep, go to sleep." And I used to wake up and massage again while dozing off. And in the morning, when I watched her calves and feet, nothing happened to her. The calves were still swollen. After breakfast, when my husband tried to go to the hospital with her, my husband and my mother-in-law were so surprised that they called me. Approaching them, I saw my mother-in-law give me a big bright smile in her shoes. Not only could she wear her shoes, but also she could walk. About a year after that, she passed away. We had an intimate relationship during that time. Many of us are deceived by the big lie that death is fearful and terrible, and the end of life would be miserable. Of course, the end of life may not necessarily be good, but Jesus said in the Bible, "In my Father's house are many rooms. I'm going there to prepare a place for you." Jesus says that He Himself prepares a place for you and me. If we trust in God, then we don't have to be worried about that. So we have to remember that the end of our life is a precious time too. My mother-in-law was so scared that she might die when she came to my house at first. But later, when I asked her, "Mom, are you still afraid of death?" she answered, "No, I'm not afraid of anything, even death. I believe I will be in heaven, so I'm happy." Death and the end of life were hers at the time, but they would be also mine, and every single person's without exception. The other big lie is about the relationship. Have you ever heard of the conflict between the mother-in-law and daughter-in-law? Which means they have the parallel relationship opposing each other. But the scripture says, "Honor your father and mother, and love your neighbor." When people ask, "Who is our neighbor?" then Jesus answered, "Your neighbor is the person who is with you." My mother-in-law was my neighbor as well as my mother, and I became her best friend as well as a daughter-in-law at the end of her life. So, the end of life is the time of another opportunity to make sure heaven and solidify the relationship to love and be loved. Thank you.